Hello and welcome to my Lionel Advanced Guide. In this video we're going to be going over Lionel, using him in New Game Plus, and generally the strategies and tactics you can use to have him more or less break the game, but also just how to use him in New Game Plus, assuming that you're going to be playing New Game Plus. On a fresh save, most of these tactics still hold up, except for some of the abilities unlocked later. I'll kind of cover fresh save. I'll probably cover that first, just like briefly, and then go into like the big things. Alright, so for Lionel, the best items for him are generally speed items. He has 25 base speed, or no, he actually has 24 base speed, so if we remove the speed items, he's extremely slow, and he is not a unit that wants to go last. So like he wants to go as soon as you can get him, right? Like as soon as the match starts, you want him spamming Shutdown. So let's actually turn him back on. So I would say his best items are speed items. Other items you could use on him, you at least want one speed item. I would say you don't want to use no speed items on him. I would say he always wants at least one speed item, whether it be a speed amulet or a speed bracelet. And other items that would be good on him, his base stats are pretty good, his defensive stats are pretty good, maybe movement bangle. I would say movement bangle or speed items, but he shouldn't be getting strength items. If you're doing New Game Plus and you have economy, he should actually be spamming items, so I'll actually get into that. Unfortunately, if you don't like spamming items, his best use is using Shutdown and then throwing items. So, like, objectively, like, the damage is insane. He actually, so, alright, so the first thing, Assailing the Afflicted. So this is one of his upgrades, so we'll go into it really quick. So what does it do? So it gives him bonus damage, so you can see here we have it, Assailing the Afflicted. It gives him bonus damage when he hits enemies that are affected by conditions. So conditions are like Fury, paralyze, poison, blind, things like this. Conditions, however, are not stat decreases. So if you use like Blazing Chains on Frederica and it reduces movement of an enemy by 1, this does not trigger Assailing the Afflicted. So it has to specifically be a stat decrease, or a condition on the enemy. Alright, so we're gonna Light Wave Erador just to get Fury on these enemies so you can see the damage difference. And I'll have one unit, let's see, we got one Fury. Alright, so you can actually see it once it's his turn. So what we'll do, we'll tandem him. I'm just gonna have him throw an item. But it does around 23 to 25% more damage, which is quite a lot of damage. Alright, we're gonna use Fleet-Footed just to get up there. This is just to demo the effect. So we'll hit 2 enemies. You'll see the difference between throwing an item on one with and without. So 88 versus 115. So that's roughly like 23.4% damage. So it's around like 25% damage increase. But you can see the big upside of spamming elemental stones on Furied enemies, because Lionel himself can put Shutdown, he can put Fury on enemies, and between Lionel and Erador and other units that can spam conditions, Lionel will be able to just get bonus damage. After he uses like a big Shutdown ability, he can throw like a stone for some extra damage, which is like, you know, he contributes to both Shutdown and damage in this instance. I was actually very interested I guess hyped to find out Assailing the Afflicted boosted item damage, because this means he's one of the units that can spam items effectively. Every unit can spam items, but this means that specifically he gets a bonus. So that's like a huge upside. Okay. So point number 2, so that was point number 1, the Assailing the Afflicted. Point number 2, because he deals increased damage to status condition enemies, he combos well with allies who can spam conditions. So some units who he combos well with, Anna from Poison Spam, this is more of like a new game, or a fresh save type of thing, because Poison's not as good on New Game Plus. Erador, spamming Fury. Provoke and King Shield are both really good, especially Provoke to get those two turns of Fury. Lionel can fill the gaps. So like if Erador Furies a bunch of things and there's like 1 or 2 things that aren't Furied, Lionel can use Ruffle Feathers to prevent other enemies from not being Furied, like just to put Fury on them and to lock them down so they're forced to attack specific units. Hughette is also really good because she just spams Immobilize and Blind. Ezana is good for Paralyze. Pretty much any unit who has crowd control, they can hit him like a few things. He also combos with himself just by alternating throwing items and using things like Endless Speech, for example, and Golden Opportunity. Golden Opportunity usually doesn't last long enough, but he can combo Endless Speech off of this. So he combos well with things that put conditions on things. Sleep is the worst condition to combo with because you get an automatic crit. So for him to Assail the Afflicted, it doesn't really do too much extra. It kind of helps, but you're honestly better off just having someone smack them with a crit or something. Okay, so debuffs, such as reducing enemy stats or movement, do not trigger Assailing the Afflicted, so I already went over that, but that's point number 3. I try to come up with at least 10 interesting or relevant points about the unit. Alright, so point number 4, Lionel is primarily a shutdown unit who has access to a few different ranged options, so we'll just go over these. Okay, so we have Ruffle Feathers, which is 1 to 4 range, 2 TP. It has a 90% chance to infuriate enemies at the same level, and then with the upgrade it has 100%. So it is guaranteed shutdown at range. I'll go into this in a minute as to why this is really good. Inciting Whispers, for 1 TP, he has a 30% chance to tempt for 2 turns. This is a weird one. This one's kind of like, you can go for it sometimes if you're at 1 TP and he has nothing better to do, and especially when you're on a fresh save. And if it works, great. But if it doesn't, it's 1 TP. But when it hits, you get a tempt for a 1 to 4 range tempt for 2 turns, which is insane. So even though it's only 30%, when it hits, it's absurd. He also has Endless Speech. So it's a 1 TP range tempt, right? So that's why it's like 30%. So Endless Speech, 60% chance to silence, 60% chance to sleep for 2 turns. 1 to 4 range, hits in a plus shape, is AoE for 3 TP, so this is massive. Then Golden Opportunity costs you 7.5k to deal huge damage in an AoE, and then also 100% chance to tempt afterwards. So this is like, if you can afford to use this and you spam battery, this will break the game just by itself. So if you want to do Deathless, just farm gold and just spam Golden Opportunity and you'll easily beat maps. Okay, so those are his basic abilities. He also has like Charm, which this reduces physical and magic defense by 5, which is roughly a 5 to 6% damage increase. This is only really useful in bosses. I mean, often though, just throwing an item will deal that difference of damage. So like, it's usually better just to throw an item, because like, let's say he increases a bunch of units damage by 5%, and then like, I don't know, 6 things hit the boss. He might have been able to make up that like extra 30% damage these units are dealing, like combined, by attacking once, potentially. So it's kind of like, I would rather him just throw an item and conserve TP. I don't really think Charm is that good. Maybe in certain circumstances it's okay. So those are his abilities. So one of his best tactics, let's actually reset. One of his best tactics is to use Fury on an enemy and to essentially run away or to be behind something so that enemy can't access him, but the enemy's furied. A furied enemy will always attack the thing that put Fury on it. It's guaranteed. So if he Furies something at range and that enemy can't reach him and can't physically attack him, that enemy is just straight up disabled for 2 turns and cannot do anything at all. It'll just like it'll try to get to him, but if it can't, it'll just wait for 2 turns. So infuriating at range is huge. He can also fill gaps in Furies. So for example, if I light wave in Erador and have him Fury, have him provoke. Okay, so that missed both of them. So that's actually good. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have him Fury one of these spear dudes. Then she can just do whatever. We'll probably use fleet-footed again. Actually, we don't have to. We can hit from here. Alright, so one thing I can do... So I'll get hit by both of them if I go here. But I can ruffle this guy, basically disabling him so he can't hit Erador. So 100% Fury. So you can see here there's like a barricade in this case, but that could be like my team. Erador's taking some damage. Then Hughette will just fly over here. I'll just pass these turns until they go. He's also pretty durable too, so he has like 530 health or 550 health, plus decent defensive stats, baseline. So if you throw like a health bracelet and a speed bracelet on him, he'll be at like 600 health and be pretty fast. Like 27 speed is decent. That's what a single speed bracelet would get him. So you can kind of see here this dude's forced to route to him. And one thing I could do here is like, I can push this guy off if I really wanted to, but I'm just going to go for a provoke.
I'll be your shield.
I'll do my utmost.
Alright, then we'll just have Medina wait. I just want to show like the effective furying things at range. Alright, so he can still get stabbed here, but you can kind of get the idea. And the other thing, the other upside too, is if I want, I could ruffle this, I can re-up it, and I can just keep pulling this enemy, and I can have my allies kill this enemy, or I can just tank it. And then, for example, I could shut it down, probably Hughette or something, but you get the idea. You can infuriate things and move back, and you can put enemies out of position to easily kill them, to delay them. We could probably start to body block this. I think it'll still be able to hit him, though, but let's see. Oh, no. I think it just passed. Alright, now here it goes. Yeah. So you can see here, just by body blocking him with Hughette, he wasn't able to get to him, and he just had a dead turn. Now, obviously, this turn is going to hit him, but it's just going to be a basic attack, which you can tank those. You can tank like 3 to 4 of those on him easily. Actually, in this case, it looks like he can tank like 5. So he could just keep putting Fury on this, and it's just basically shut down, and then I can go deal with other things. So that's the big upside of just Furying single targets, or filling the gaps in like an Erador provoke, or just Furying things at range, and then, you know, having your team surround the Furied enemy, and then deal with other things, and ignore that enemy for 2 turns. It just buys you a lot of time. That's what Shutdown does. It buys you time. So because he's one of the best Shutdown units in the game, he's excellent at buying you time. And if you don't need it, then you don't have to run him. Like, there's maps where you can just, like, waste time and you have all these turns to just kill, you know, and set up mitigation and whatever you need to and just build up TP. But on maps where there's a lot of pressure, Shutdown relieves pressure, so his ability to Fury, his ability to Endless Speech, to Tempt, with Golden Opportunity, these are all massive and can completely change the dynamics of a battle, especially if it's tense as soon as it starts. Alright, so Golden Opportunity turns Lionel into a damage unit with Shutdown. It costs 7.5k. So I kind of touched base on this. If you want to grind out the gold to spam this, it basically trivializes New Game Plus, because it just gives him access to huge spike plus 100% tempt every turn. And if Medina is just providing him with battery, and you're also running Julio, he can spam this every turn. And it's extremely, it's so broken that if it didn't cost 7.5k, I would say they should remove it from the game. But because it costs 7.5k, it's only really something you can do when you already can break the game. So that's pretty much Golden Opportunity. Okay, so Lionel can be used for farming, so I'll actually show that really quick. So we'll just retreat. There's a farm. Oh, I won't show the entire farm, I'll just like go over it. It's pretty simple. So I'll just retreat. So you have Frederica. There's like a specific way to do it, it's pretty easy. I have a video on it too. But basically, he can pick up money bags and get 1k at level 50 per money bag. So what you do is you run this Mental Mock Battle, Conquer the Arena. Now you need to be level 50. Use Frederica with Sunfall. You get her... I guess I'll show it. just to go through it, because this is like one of the best farms. Someone pointed out you can do... There's like some optimizations you can do, and I'll show those too. Alright, so the units you want.
Leave it to me.
Do not want Medina. You want Benedict, Lionel, Frederica, and then Frederica needs Vanguard. And then she also needs Golden Pinky Ring. Whoever has it. Or no one has it. It's unequipped, I'm sure. Yeah, here it is. Alright, so here's the idea. So Frederica goes first. Use the Golden Pinky Ring to increase the amount of spoils. Alright, that's step 1. Alright, and then for step 2, get them all together. Oh wait, what do I Roland? Get out of here. Get out of here, horse boy. Alright, so you have Lionel. Okay, Frederica goes here. I mean, I guess she doesn't need to go there, but whatever. We'll put Lionel here. Alright, and then for Lionel, One of the bracelets prevents him from being paralyzed. So whichever one that is, we're going to equip. Defense, I guess we could use this one. And then speed bracelet, so I'll just steal it from someone. You can see all my bracelets. I have a ton. I'll take one from Narv. Cool. Alright, speed bracelets on him. Then Benedict. I'll just throw speed amulets on him. Alright, so here's the farm. I might as well show this because it only takes like a minute. This is one of the best farms in the game. There might be a better one that someone found, but... Alright. This is on hard mode too. You don't change the difficulty. Some of them lower it to kill everyone except for one person, but... Alright, so the first thing you do, you battle cry. Frederica. Okay, and I actually don't need to use in tandem, so that's usually something... Alright, so then you Sunfall. You can move up here. Sunfall these. So you notice that one of them doesn't die, that's key. Sunfall, you need to battle cry first. And then Benedict can now... Alright, and then Sunfall hits. Kills everything except one. Oh, this is like a perfect one. Everyone got a spoil. Alright, then the first thing you do is you light wave. So this is like to be optimal. You light wave Lionel onto a spoil. This picks a spoil up. And then he can pick up another spoil. And in this case, we can have Benedict and tandem him right away. And then wait in place. If it shaves off turn order. If it doesn't shave off turn order, you can just like move up. Alright, then he can do this. Lionel can move. He can endless speech this. It won't damage him. It'll sleep or silence him. Both are fine. Silence prevents him from hitting you with magic. Sleep obviously prevents him from moving, which is nice. And then what you want to do is you want to start using twofold turn on Lionel. And then you notice that I'm getting 1k every time I move and wait. And twofold turn lets you take two actions, so... Alright, he's gonna wake up soon. He's gonna keep casting like lightning on Lionel, but with the anti-paralyze, he's pretty safe. Like he'll never kill you. Yeah, he'll just keep sparking you. And then what you can do is you can endless speech again. And then twofold turn.
This will serve well.
Allow me.
There is no mercy on the battle.
Profit comes to the prepared.
So this is the farm.
Let me
So I think we had like, what, 8k or 9k when I started, so we'll see how much we get. Then have Benedict pass when you can't twofold turn.
I will end this.
I shall try my level best.
This is, I think this is about as optimized as we can get this one. It's pretty simple. But this helps because, like, the unit that needs so much gold can spam, like, he can farm pretty effectively, and then you just kill the last guy. Alright, so that takes, like, 2 to 3 minutes. Let's see how much we got. Now, it won't tell you the total. So, alright, so 10k, that doesn't include all the spoils we picked up. Keep that in mind. So we got... So you get money and items from spoils, okay? So that's what adds up to your coin obtained. And you also get 1k... and it's hidden until you like exit. You get 1k per spoil picked up. So we picked up like a good like 9 or 10 spoils. So we made like 20k just doing that. Like plus the materials which we can sell. If all of your units are upgraded, you can just sell those materials for more money. All right, so let's see what we're at. 31k. So we made like a little bit over 20k, like 22. And then if you want to sell those materials, assuming all your units are upgraded, you can just go to materials, just sell it all. And this is like meaningful money, like some of it, and like especially this stuff, like whenever you start a new game, you can sell all this stuff for easy money, and like all your medals, like on New Game Plus, because assuming everyone's upgraded and everyone's promoted, you can just sell everything, and now I'm up to like a lot of, you know, almost 50k. Look at this. Now I am at 50k. Because you get all these medals for free, and you don't need them anymore. Then you can always sell like the HP rings and dumb crap you get. Strength Amulet isn't something you should really hold on to. Might as well sell that. Magic Amulet, same thing. Evasion Amulet. You can get rid of dumb stuff. The only amulet I think you should hold on to is Speed Amulet. Everything else should just be bracelets and like artifacts that are good. So yeah, we're up to 60k now from selling some junk. That's another way to make money to fund spamming with Lionel. Let's see. All right, he's out of stuff. That's fine. You can always check this. Converting, you know, Quietus into resources is easy money every fresh save. All right, so that's the farm. That's 0.7. So let's go back to the map. So 0.8, whipping with Lionel is usually something you want to avoid. Increasing his strength isn't really that useful. The reason for this is he can spam items. Whipping is something that you do in a fresh save. Like you whip enemies with his thing, assuming you don't want to have him throw a stone, which usually does more damage anyways. His strength isn't high enough to justify him melee attacking. You can do it if that's all you have access to. That's fine, but you can easily farm for some resources. Let's just have him be... Just run this, I guess. Alright. Okay. He also does deal increased damage when whipping if something has a condition on it, but the items will usually outdamage it. Alright, Endless Speech is one of the strongest shutdown abilities in the game, so I'm going to show that now. I kind of showed it in the farm, but I want to show it against enemies at the same level, because it's not going to have a 75% chance to proc. It's going to be closer. We'll just use now, I guess. It's going to be closer to 60. It's exactly 60 against same level foes. So here we go. So you can kind of see here the upside of Endless Speech, right? If I put both of these to sleep, or at least silence them, as long as one of them hits, it's going to reduce their effectiveness, and if sleep hits, they're shut down for 2 turns straight up. Alright, so we got a silence and a sleep on one, so one of them is just straight up shut down. It also lowers their speed, I believe. Oh, let me double check that. Which helps in the long term. Yes, lowers the speed. Yeah, so let's see how much it lowers it by. 22. I think they're at 25, so -3. So that matters long term. Lowering something's speed for 2 turns puts it back in the turn order. So even if this just completely whiffs and just lowers a bunch of enemies' speed for 2 turns, that actually could matter, especially if you have Gila do something like increase something's speed. So if she hastes someone, in this case it's doing nothing, but it's still the opening turns, but you can kind of see here, it actually is starting to matter. Erador is able to go before, I think, this guy over here. So decreasing enemy speed and increasing your unit speed, yeah, you can see that Erador is now able to act before him, so he can like run in and provoke, for example. So even if it whiffs, the decreased speed is huge, and if it hits, and like they get put to sleep, it pushes their turns back by decreasing their speed on top of wasting 2 of their turns. So it's actually better than most people realize. It's extremely overpowered, to be honest. Being able to sleep or shut down, or just sleep or silence this many, like 5 foes at 1 to 4 range, it's pretty absurd. And you can usually hit on average, I would say, like 2 to 3 enemies, so it's pretty good. And then if you can only hit one thing, then you just Fury at 100%. So pretty big upside. Alright, so for the final point, on a dead turn, when Lionel can't catch battery, he should be throwing stones or whipping foes for follow-up combos. Throwing stones versus foes with status effects will usually deal more damage than whipping. So kind of similar to 0.8, where I just like kind of address whipping in general. But when he has a dead turn, he should be like setting up oil tiles. He can be like he can be an off healer where he just like spot heals someone with a pellet or something, or he can throw a stone, which will deal good damage. So even if he doesn't catch a battery, or you're not running a battery, or you can't afford a battery, or your battery isn't just like batterying him, he can still contribute by shutting down every other turn with his Fury, and then throwing a stone in his off turns. And he can also throw stones at the Furied enemy for scale damage. So that can be quite good. So let's kind of demo that. So Erador Furied that dude, but let's say for the sake of argument he did. You can just like throw stones, pretty simple. And then also one note on stones. There's 3 types that are AoE. Wind, fire, and ice have AoE. But if you want the biggest single target damage, normal thunderstones deal the same damage, but large thunderstones deal the highest damage. So like large ranged wind, ice, and fire deal 200 because they hit AoE, but large thunder deals 240. So you can see there you can get 138 single target with Assailing the Afflicted, which is pretty substantial damage for a unit that doesn't really deal damage and is more of a shutdown unit. So you can kind of see how he can help with damage. And obviously if you're hitting multiple enemies, that's just massive. So, but yeah, Thunderstones can spike single target, so it's good to know. That's pretty much it for Lionel. As far as I know, I mean, there might be some weird obscure things he can do that people know about. If you are one of those people, definitely drop a comment. Or if you just want to drop a comment in general, that's always welcome. I didn't go over Charm too much. I mean, it's just kind of like a point-blank debuff. It's whatever. Lucky Find. This is really good for farming. Treasure in HP. This can be circumstantially useful, like situationally. Sometimes if he's like low on health, just getting a little bit of chip healing for picking up an item, like shutting something down and like picking up a spoil in an actual match, could be useful, so it's just worth mentioning. Brute Force. This actually can deal really big damage on a backstab, like on a back crit. It has a 100% hit rate against foes that are asleep, foes that are paralyzed, and I believe foes that are immobilized. So even though it has like a very low chance of hitting, if you can get paralyzed, sleep, or immobilize on something, this can actually be a meaningful spike, and this can be used on like fresh save, and it also can be used on New Game Plus. So if there's like an enemy boss, you want to get a big spike on them, if you have the TP for it and something is shut down or immobilized or whatever, you can smack them with this for huge damage. So that's another thing worth mentioning. But aside from that, I would say his best use is just spamming Shutdown and then spamming items. And that's pretty much it for Lionel. Thank you for checking this out. Definitely like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I am going to be doing more game dev videos for my game. They're not going to be as frequent as game content because it takes me quite a bit of time to make all this content for the game. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you in the next video.